Hey guys, this is a presentation of Sport ID, and we have a trainer showing us some moves to burn your fats.
And if you're active,
Great.
your whole life quality is going to be much better. You agree with me? Let's go to hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go left, back, right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shoulders. Raise your hands and say, yes, I did it. I was more active today. Almost 5 minutes than those who didn't do it. Have a great day and see you at Sport ID.
Oh, that's what a presentation was.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Keep it on. And that's do some sport. Today, I think I said it already 4 times. So now I'm inviting this person who is actually, he studied law, but his heart belongs to designing. So he's a designer by heart, lawyer by head, and now he's turned into a logistics specialist or a designer in logistics. And he's going to tell you about his story with the startup Paletter. That turned down 1 million euros and then shut down. And then something amazing happened. Dono Ronald, please come on stage and tell everybody what you did. Woo. Woo.
Guten Morgen,
Good
ich
morning.
bin aus Vienna. I'm representing my old days and my new days. First I'm going to speak about a different kind of startup story, more like a fuck-up story, that played out like a fairy tale, like a Hollywood movie or Silicon Valley movie. Me and my friends a few years ago launched another business, and we named it Paletter. It was, I think, 5th or 4th we were together in. Before we had built small niche startups, and now we wanted to go big, do something in a really big market, something that could have impact if we did it right. We wanted to do a real startup with funding going by the book, and go big if it's possible, or fail fast if we are doing something wrong. We had everything set correctly. This was really by the book. We started with an awesome idea. Yeah, you know, ideas are never very good in themselves, but they can be bad. So it wasn't a bad idea. It was a really, really good idea to build a predictive logistics marketplace. So something that wasn't possible before because the technology wasn't just there, the time wasn't right before. So we were starting a business in a field just in the right time. The competition was just starting, different people in the world having the same ideas. The technology was just there. Now the opportunity was massive. The trucking industry is one of the biggest industries in the world. It was hugely fragmented and very old school. So technology is a really good thing to put into place in an old school, large, fragmented, and folded sixfold. And now what we are doing is having the same technology that we built up, connecting trucks, but providing service to, not on the spot market, to small companies wanting to ship stuff, but to the biggest producers in the world. Think of like Coca-Cola, companies like Coca-Cola who have hundreds of trucks every day shipping their goods to retailers or shipping stuff into their terminals, into their warehouses, their factories, and they have no eyes. When you are ordering underpants from Amazon, you see where those are. At any point, you know when they will be arriving. But with those massive producers, they have no eyes until we came in. And we are doing great. We have, as of today, 31 people, 3 offices, Tallinn, Tartu, Vienna. We're going to grow probably twice as big this year. We have a product market fit first level, basic level found. First big customers. Nothing of which we foresee when we started Paletter. The pivot was very unusual, but it was the pivot that we needed. Just still incredible that it's possible to go this way of shutting things down and then getting investment, getting everything that we wanted to build next trucking or next logistics revolution. And there will be more business models once we've grown from tens of thousands of trucks to hundreds of thousands of trucks. All the data that we're gathering, all the data that we have in real time about logistics brings us stuff, brings us opportunities like Paletter initially wanted to be, most probably. Let's see. Maybe I'm here in 5 years and telling the story how we ended up building something completely different. The learnings are that recognize failure, don't be afraid to fail, but I can't say that do exactly like we did. I doubt that this is the way to go. It was a sudden success from a huge failure. Maybe we should have pivoted ourselves and found this industry ourselves, but we just didn't have more oxygen left in us. We needed more oxygen from somewhere outside. But definitely, go out with a bang. If you're closing down your stuff, do it with a bang, because good things happen. At least you can go next day with clear consciousness, clear sheet, start anew. This slow dissolving of your companies, no one needs this. Thank you. That was it.
So that was a presentation from sixfold.com. Their co-founder Tonu Runel.
So I would like to say maybe add one thing to the story, which is timing. You know, there's a lot of actually research done on why actually teams fail. And you had everything. You had fundraising. You had the excellent team. You had the product that had the opportunity, and still you failed.
Yes.
So, and you said, you know, that when you made this decision, and I read this blog post, I remember this press release that you're closing down, and I felt like, wow, that they are so smart. They understood that the time is not right for this kind of product, and that you actually closed it down because, you know, maybe there will be a better time. And it's amazing that, you know, Sixfold kind of came there on the right time, gave you this opportunity, and now you're kicking asses with your team, right?
But it's only learning from the rearview mirror. We didn't expect any of this.
Yeah, like Steve Jobs said, you know, you can only connect the dots later. So one personal question. Do you feel that you have the redemption now?
Redemption? There is no redemption for business people.
Oh my God!
You never win. Apple has not won.
Yeah.
They are just on top not right now, but they will be not existent in 100 years.
Yeah, actually, I totally agree, because I was on one AI conference, and then they said like 75% of the top Forbes 500 companies are dead in the next 10 to 15 years. So
enjoy while it lasts, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely enjoyed your talk. Thank you, Tonu. Here you go.
When someone says, I have the knowledge, it scares me. Simply because every day I wake up and I do something and I realize it's I've learned something today which I didn't know yesterday. And this has been going on for the last, I'm not going to tell you how many decades. So the concept of knowledge scares me. However, it's also applicable to what I'm going to tell you about this afternoon and share my thoughts with you related to building a team that you can embark on the journey of a startup with. I was contemplating a line that I was either going to use in the beginning or the end, but I may remind you about it at the end. Ultimately, it's all about the concept of if you want to soar as the eagles, there's no point flying with turkeys. So it's the choices you make in life. So I thought to put it into context, we just have a quick look at the journey that you go through as a startup. It all starts with creativity, getting the idea, being creative about it, and then you're going to look for a use case for this idea, and that's the process of innovation. And once you've got to the point where, yes, I actually have a use case, we always wonder why, if you've been very creative, really good idea, you've got a use case, why do we fail? Well, it's another thing having a use case, and it's another thing actually making it economically work through the process of entrepreneurship. Now, when you're building a team to go through this journey, particularly when you're starting off, you have to take all these things into account. And where do you start? So what you'd be looking for, at least this is the way that I've always worked, is, I'll just take one step back. Through this process, what I wanted to highlight here was that you go from creativity through innovation, through entrepreneurship, but what's also important is you learn lessons through the way, and then you've got to come back again, and it's that iterative